Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the very first electoral map that I analyzed and predicted on this channel back on May 16th, 2020. So that might not seem like a very long time ago, however in a presidential election year, that's basically an eternity. A lot has changed since that previous video, so I'm going to go over here what exactly has changed. It won't be a very long video. I'm not going to go too in-depth with the analysis because a new electoral map updated will be coming out in the next few days. However, what exactly has changed since May 16th, 2020? So this was well after the coronavirus pandemic had hit the United States. That being said, this was still a time where Donald Trump was performing better than he is now. Now, obviously, since the entire pandemic has hit the United States, Trump's approvals have fallen off a cliff, and Biden is now leading by plus 10 to maybe even 15 points in a lot of credible polls that have come out. Now, pre-pandemic, Trump was looking like he probably would have been reelected against Joe Biden if he was the Democratic nominee, which we obviously didn't know at the time. However, since then, Joe Biden cruised now to the Democratic nomination and is looking extremely formidable against Donald Trump this November. So what exactly has changed in this electoral map? So the first thing that I would actually change is in the state of New Mexico. I actually consider the state of New Mexico as a safe Democratic state. Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado are actually all I would keep the exact same. Colorado as a likely Dem, Arizona tilt blue, and Nevada lean blue. Arizona, I think I was sort of riding the wave at this point of, Arizona is really going to go to the Democratic Party. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. I'm a little bit more conservative on that viewpoint now, with Arizona being much more of a toss-up in my book. I would almost consider labeling it as just a firm gray toss-up. However, given Biden's mere polling edge in the state of Arizona, I'm going to keep it in his column. The other thing is here in the upper Rust Belt. Very interestingly, I had Wisconsin as a tilt red state, which I could not disagree with more. At the very least, it's a tilt Democratic state. Minnesota, I'm between keeping it as a lean and likely for the Democratic Party. I'm going to keep it as lean for now. Pennsylvania is actually, I was a little bit too far left on this analysis at that point. I think Pennsylvania is more of a tilt alongside Wisconsin. Now, all four of these states, if I were a betting man and I would have to pick all four of these states in which direction they would go, I would pick all four of them as going to the Democratic Party and Joe Biden specifically, just because of how incredibly far ahead Joe Biden is in virtually every single one of these states, along with a ton of other swing state polls. However, he's plus 10, I think, in Minnesota, plus 8 in Wisconsin, plus 10 in Michigan, plus 7 in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's honestly quite ridiculous. New Hampshire, I would still keep as lean. Maine 2nd Congressional District, I would actually move more into the lean column for Donald Trump. Nothing has really indicated to me, at least, that Maine is going to move, or Maine's 2nd Congressional District is going to move that far drastically over to the left from its likely margin in 2016. Maine's at-large 2 electoral votes, it wasn't that off. Likely versus lean, it's really just doesn't make that much of a difference. Iowa and Ohio, I would still keep as lean in favor of the Republican Party. I interestingly had Indiana and South Carolina as likely at that point. I would also add Missouri as likely and Kansas as likely. Montana and Utah are kind of borderline. I almost consider Montana and Utah as likely in favor of the Republican Party. But given the stronghold of the Republican Party and especially Donald Trump in those two states, I'm going to keep them as safe for now. Texas and Georgia, not that far off. I would actually move Georgia as a tilt in favor of the Republican Party at this point. Texas, I would also lean more towards moving it into the tilt column. Again, these two states, I don't blame myself for having them as lean at that point because we didn't really see how strong Joe Biden's polling numbers would be nationwide and especially in these two states. Florida, tilt red is a little bit off. I would actually have to label this as a tilt blue as of right now. I can't not, just because of how close Florida typically is and Biden's plus 6, plus 7 point edge there in 538 polling average, which is really ridiculous in a state that is typically as close as the state of Florida is. North Carolina, I actually have no issue with keeping as tilts in favor of the Republican Party. Looking at everything sort of here, I mean, it wasn't that far off from what it has now. A few of these predictions were a little bit too far in favor of Joe Biden and a few were too far in favor of Donald Trump. Overall, I think this is probably the most accurate representation of the 2020 electoral map as things stand right now. Maybe there are a few states that could still go either way in terms of classification for safe, likely, lean, or tilt, But right now, I think this is the most likely scenario for the direction in which states will go. Texas, Georgia, and North Carolina are extremely close on the Republican side. Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Florida are all extremely close on the Democratic side. Joe Biden must win in the states of Michigan. He must win in the state of Pennsylvania. And then he'll need to win in either Wisconsin or Arizona. That is if he loses in the state of Florida. If he wins in the state of Florida, it's effectively over, given that he most likely will win in the state of Michigan. And if he wins in Florida, I expect him to pick up the 270 mark. So that about does it for today's very short video looking at the original electoral map versus how things stand today. I'm trying to look over this and see if I have anything wrong at this point. I don't believe I do. And so that does it for today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you all so much for watching, and tune in next time.